If you've had a credit card for a while, the annual fee is coming up, but you're no longer feeling justified in paying that annual fee in exchange for what you're getting out of the card, then your first instinct might be to go ahead and cancel the card. Now in this video, we're going to talk about a few things that you should always do before you go ahead and cancel, because there's always a chance that you can actually extract further value from the card before canceling, or perhaps be swayed into keeping the card around for longer. And if you do eventually decide to cancel, then there are always a few alternative pathways that you can consider as well. If you enjoy these videos on maximizing your credit cards and traveling the world better, then do me a quick favor and hit the like button down below. That helps the video perform better and it helps spread the knowledge far and wide. And with that out of the way, let's get into the best tips for what to do before canceling your credit card. The first thing you should do is to make sure that you've maximized your credits and your perks on the card to the best of your ability, and that you've squeezed out every last drop of value from the card before actually making the decision to cancel. Most of the credits that we see on the major credit cards are based on the cardholder membership year, so you just need to think about whether or not you've maximized it for the past year. For example, on the American Express Platinum card here in Canada, there's a $200 annual travel credit, which applies to any travel booking made through American Express's travel agency. The same is true for many of the credits that you'll find on the major US credit cards, like the $300 Marriott credit on the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, or the $250 Hilton Resort credits on the Hilton Aspire. However, there are also a few annual credits that are based on the calendar year. And so this means that if your cardholder membership year doesn't line up exactly with the calendar year, then you can actually double dip on these credits during a single cardholder year, and you should make sure you've done that if you're planning to cancel the card soon. Examples of these would include the $200 travel credits on the CIBC Aventura Visa Infinite Privilege. If you don't see the value in renewing this card, then you can actually double dip on this $200 credit and come out ahead by $400 in total. That'll almost offset the card's $499 annual fee. Another example would be the $50 and $200 lifestyle credits on the BMO Eclipse Visa Infinite and Visa Infinite Privilege respectively. These lifestyle credits can be used on any purchases that you want. So because they're based on the calendar year, then if you don't see the value in renewing these cards for a second year, perhaps due to BMO's recent devaluation of the BMO Rewards program so soon after launching these two cards, then you should absolutely make sure that you've double dipped on these credits before deciding to cancel. Similarly, there's also a few credits on the US side that are based on the calendar year, such as the airline incidental fee credits on the American Express US Platinum card, Business Platinum card, and Hilton Aspire card. Then you also have the Saks Fifth Avenue credits on the Platinum card and the Dell credits on the Business Platinum, which are based on a biannual cycle, so twice per year, once from January through June, once from July through December. And finally, speaking of American Express, you should always take a look at your Amex offers and make sure that you've maximized those offers before deciding to move on from the card. For example, on the Platinum card here in Canada, there's currently a $200 carte blanche statement credit on groceries and Uber Eats. So if you don't use that up, then you're basically leaving free money on the table. Similarly, on the US Delta, Hilton, and Marriott cards, they're doing a series of monthly credits for restaurants and wireless purchases. You should also make sure that you've maximized that month's credits before deciding to cancel. However, it's pretty clear that those monthly credits are geared towards enticing cardholders to keep their cards throughout 2021. And speaking of being enticed to keep your card further, you should give some thought as to the specific benefits on your card and whether you've been able to maximize them just yet. For example, I was recently speaking to one of our points consulting clients who had a premium Aeroplan credit card and was considering downgrading it to a cheaper core Aeroplan credit card. Now, one of the benefits of the premium card is that you can roll over up to 50 Air Canada e-upgrades over into the following year instead of having them expire at the end of February. And since it's February right now, and this client did have some e-upgrades in their account that were going to expire, then it would actually make more sense to wait until March after the e-upgrade rollover has happened, before going ahead and downgrading to the cheaper card. And that brings me to the next thing that you should always do before canceling a credit card, which is to explore whether there's actually a way to downgrade the card to a cheaper or no fee option instead. There are quite a few benefits to downgrading the card instead of canceling, because you're still preserving that credit account on your credit file, you're still able to have it contribute to the overall strength of your credit history, and you're still preserving that relationship with the credit card issuer instead of severing it entirely by canceling the card. And if your reason for canceling the card was because you didn't want to pay a high annual fee again, then by downgrading the card to a cheaper or no fee card, you can also sidestep that problem. The possibilities for downgrading your cards vary from issuer to issuer. Now, most of the big 5 banks in Canada do have a no-fee version of some of their premium travel credit cards. So if you no longer see value in keeping the premium travel credit card and paying that premium annual fee, then you can downgrade it to, let's say, the RBC Rewards Plus Visa or the no-fee CIBC Aventura Visa or the CIBC Aeroplan Visa. These cards are not really going to give you a strong earning rate for your purchases, nor do they really have strong travel benefits. But for the purposes of keeping that account open, keeping that positive impact for your credit history, it will do just fine. However, you do also need to consider the fact that in the long run, if you keep too many credit accounts open on your credit file, then your total outstanding credit limits are just going to balloon. They're just going to go higher and higher. And at some point, that might be a little too high for the comfort of new card issuers when you're applying for a new credit card. So you're going to want to find a balance between which cards to downgrade to a no-fee card and keep alive for the purposes of propping up your credit history, and which cards to cancel outright. No matter whether you're leaning towards downgrading or canceling your card, the next thing is another thing that you should always do before taking either one of those steps. And that's to give the credit card issuer a call and ask if they have any retention offers or the ability to just waive the annual fee that's coming up. Now, retention offers tends to be something that we see in the ecosystem of American Express, both in Canada and in the United States. If you call American Express with an annual fee coming up on your account, you can kind of say, well, I'm kind of on the borderline of whether to keep this card open or not. Is there any offer that you can make in order to retain me as a cardholder? Depending on a variety of different factors, including how long you've been an American Express customer, how much spending you've put on the card in question, and how many retention offers you've gotten in the past, you might be given a variety of different answers, all the way from no retention offer, so we're not able to offer you anything, it's just up to you whether to keep or cancel, all the way up to a pretty impressive number of points as a bonus simply for deciding to keep the card. So 10,000 points, 20,000 points, even 50,000 points. We've seen anecdotes of these in the past for American Express simply to incentivize you to keep the card instead of canceling. So it's always worth your while to give them a call and see what types of retention offers are available to you, because oftentimes these retention offers can partially offset or even fully offset the annual fee that you're about to pay. And especially during these times during COVID, when very few of us are able to take advantage of both the points and the benefits on these travel cards, it's actually a pretty reasonable request to make. And it's obviously going to be in American Express's best interest to offer you a retention offer and keep you around until the future when you're actually able to enjoy the best of these cards again. Now, outside of American Express and with some of the more traditional banks, it's less common to hear about retention offers per se, and more common to hear about customer service representatives just offering to waive the upcoming year's annual fee if you call in and ask politely whether it's possible to waive. Similar to before, right now it's actually a pretty reasonable request to call in and say, hey, can I get the annual fee waived? Because, it's a pandemic and I haven't been able to use either the points or the benefits or get basically any value out of the points I've earned on this card. And if it's a sympathetic agent over the phone, then there's a good chance that they'll go ahead and honor the request. And hey, if the first agent you speak to isn't sympathetic, then you can always hang up and call again and see if you find a more sympathetic ear. One of our writers over at the website recently wrote up some of his experiences calling in for annual fee waivers. If you're interested in that article, you can find it right up here. So let's say you've done everything we've talked about. You've maximized your credits and your benefits, you've called in to try to get an annual fee waiver or a retention offer, but you haven't been offered one, or you weren't happy with what you've been offered, and so you've still decided to cancel or downgrade your card. then the last step is to make sure you take care of the points on your card before canceling or downgrading so that they don't get lost. Now, this only matters if the card in question is associated with a points currency that's issued by the bank or the credit card issuer themselves. So examples would be American Express Membership Rewards, or RBC Avion, or CIBC Aventura, etc., etc. It doesn't really matter if you're holding a co-branded card with another third-party loyalty program like an Aeroplan credit card or an Alaska credit card or a Marriott Bonvoy credit card, because with these cards, your points get sent to the third-party loyalty program every month with your statement anyway. So if you cancel the card, then your points are still safe. They're still sitting in that loyalty program. On the other hand, with the banks themselves, if you cancel the card without a plan for redeeming them or combining them with a different account, then your points could be lost. So it's pretty simple. You have three choices: either redeem the points, transfer them out to a different program, or get another credit card of the same family and merge them into the same pool so that when you cancel this card, your points remain alive with that other card that you also have. If you have an American Express Membership Rewards card, for example, you might decide to transfer those points out to Aeroplan if you believe that eventually you'll use them through Aeroplan anyway. Or you might get a different card that also earns membership rewards, combine the two accounts so that if you were to cancel your current card, the points would still remain active with that other card that you also have. The same is true for RBC Avion. You might decide to convert them out to Avios or Asia Miles in order to avoid losing your Avion points. Now, I will note that if you were to downgrade your RBC Avion Visa Infinite to a no-fee RBC Rewards Plus card, then you could also keep your Avion points alive that way because the Rewards Plus card still earns RBC Rewards points at the end of the day. So that's a summary of all the things you should do before you cancel a credit card if you no longer find value in that card. You should consider if you've fully maximized the credits and the benefits on the card. You should think about whether there's an alternative downgrade path. You should try calling in for retention offers or perhaps a waiver on the upcoming annual fee. And if you do eventually decide to cancel or downgrade, you should make sure that you've taken care of the points that you've earned on the card so that you don't end up losing them. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the Prince of Travel YouTube channel. Just click the subscribe button below the video. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments, what's the best retention offer that you've gotten recently, and has it moved the needle for you in terms of keeping a card that you are planning to cancel? Let me know about that, and I'll see you in the next video. And Visa Infinite privilege. Or the $250 Hilton Resort credit. Credit!